there. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Welcome to News at Noon on Rajya Sabha TV that will give you a complete roundup of events as they happen in India and around the world. Well, our reporters are keeping a close watch on the biggest stories as they happen in the course of the day. Pranav Goswami will be updating us on political situation in Jammu and Kashmir. We have Akhilesh Suman. He's looking at the geopolitical situation as far as India and Pakistan are concerned. We'll discuss about the foreign secretary level talks between the neighbours. And Ravindra Sharon is keeping an eye on the latest developments from the national capital. What happens to the odd even scheme after 15th of Jan? We'll get all the updates from him. But let us begin by taking a look at the day's biggest stories in the headlines. Pakistan claims it is carrying out investigations speedily into the Pathankot attack. John Kerry calls Nawaz Sharif to assure him of US support in the probe. Focus shifts to foreign secretary level talks between India and Pakistan. Amid skepticism in India, Sharif's advisor Sartaj Aziz says meeting will be held as scheduled. Sonia Gandhi to call on Mehbooba Mufti to condole passing away of Mufti Muhammad Saeed. And Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj appeals to millions of Indian origin people to turn to their homeland, invest in the government's flagship schemes. Well, Pakistan says the foreign secretary level talks with India are intact. Sartaj Aziz, the foreign affairs advisor to Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, said that his government was following New Delhi's leads on the terror attack at the Pathankot air base. The US also extended its support to the Pakistani investigation into the incident. US Secretary of State John Kerry called up Nawaz Sharif to discuss the need to stay focused on addressing terrorism. Yesterday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the Pathankot air base where 7 Indian security personnel were killed in the attack. The Prime Minister voiced his satisfaction over the India counter-offensive mounted to neutralize the 6 intruders. Meanwhile, former National Security Advisor M.K. Narayanan called for suspension of the foreign secretary level talks with Pakistan. He echoed criticism that the talks had been invested with a certain level of totally uncalled for glamour. Well, for more on this, let's go across to my colleague Akhilesh Suman. Akhilesh, now US hopes that the dialogue between India and Pakistan will continue despite the fact that terrorists have tried to thwart it. Now, what kind of impact will US's pressure on Pakistan likely to make?
It is always interesting to see the pressure over Pakistan because this time what has happened that has not happened any time in the past in case of Pakistan because Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, Army Chief Rahil Sharif, ISI Chief, Sartaj Aziz, the National Security Advisor and the Advisor on Foreign Policy Affairs, the police, everyone is on board on one issue that yes, this is an unprecedented terror attack in India and action should be taken.
Yes.
So I think the pressure of US is also working, the understanding inside Pakistan is also working. And India's bottom line that we have given actionable information and actionable intelligence to you, so please work on that. So I think the bottom line has been created in Pakistan that what you have to do. India has given information that Jaish-e-Mohammed has been active behind this attack.
Yes.
So some action should be visible on the ground that what action Pakistan is going to take. And this is the bottom line that the foreign secretary level talks are dependent upon.
But Sartaj Aziz has clearly said that the foreign secretaries are going to meet on 15th of Jan. Now, India has linked the talks to Islamabad's action really on the Pathankot terror attack. So what happens from here? What are your sources telling you?
Yeah, actually Sartaj Aziz is telling for Pakistan, not for India. It is the concern of India that India has faced terrorist attack and it is not the first time that terrorist attack has taken place after Prime Minister Narendra Modi has shown interest in. He went to Ufa, in Ufa also he tries to come closer to Pakistan, then he talked in Paris, then National Security Advisors talked in Bangkok and then External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj went in Islamabad and talked to the Nawaz Sharif, and not only Nawaz Sharif, is all the family members and the 4 generations of Nawaz Sharif. So from Indian side, all efforts have been made to create a bonhomie and normal situation between the two countries. But it is the question what Pakistan will do. And now Pakistan can do because everyone is on board. And if everyone is on board, who is checking you to work on? So, so this is the type of question that Indian Foreign Ministry is posing to us, that if Pakistan has to act, they can act. And this is the strongest point, that Pakistan, that US is in favor, China is in favor, the Pakistan's domestic constituencies are in favor, Pakistan, all wings are in favor that action should be taken. Then who is stopping? So please show some action on the ground, and then only the Foreign Secretary level talks will be there. The need is to match the words with the deeds. This is the bottom line that India has created. And if India is satisfied with the action taken against terrorists in Pakistan, I think Foreign Secretary level talks will go on very smoothly. And S. Jaishankar will travel to Islamabad to talk with his counterpart on 15th of January, Tina.
But Akhilesh, it's very little time is left really. Today is the 10th and on 15th of January the talks are scheduled. Now within the ruling dispensation also and among the analysts and the experts, there it seems to be really not really a consensus, because some people are favouring the talks despite whatever happened in Pathankot, while there are others who are opposed to it.
Yeah, actually the political call has to be taken, and that is why Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Pathankot yesterday, and he didn't only talk to the victims' families, he also talked to the army chiefs who were also there, the air chief, naval chief, everyone was there, national security advisor was there, and he also took stock of the situation on the border between the two countries. So I think it is now a political call that will come from the topmost echelon in the Indian administrative system and political system. But as far as the bottom line that has been created, I don't think that Indian administration and Indian political system is going down that bottom line system, because in India there are votaries of both the situations. If you go and talk, people will praise you. If you don't go and talk, people will also praise you, because the attack has been there on very sensitive wing of Indian whole defense, say air base has been attacked.
Yes.
So if Prime Minister doesn't advise S. Jaishankar to go there, everyone will accept. And even if he takes a risk, then he can take that, yes, we will talk to Pakistan and go and talk on terror, then everyone will also accept. So yes. I think it is the last moment that India will take decision. There are 3 days, 4 days still left,
yes,
that they will see that what action Pakistan takes. But still, I think that there should be some arrest in Pakistan before S. Jaishankar travels to Islamabad for the Foreign Secretary level talks. Without arrest, without any action, I don't think Foreign Secretary is going there.
Right, Akhilesh, thank you so much for those details there. So India making it very clear to Pakistan that the talks will only go on if there is some concrete action on part of Pakistan. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the Pathankot Air Force Base attracted sharp criticism from the opposition parties. Now, most of them picked holes in the NDA government's policy of engagement with Pakistan. The airbase, remember, was attacked less than a week ago by Pakistani terrorists.
A week after terrorists wreaked havoc at the strategic Air Force base in Pathankot, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the base for a first-hand assessment of the situation. Opposition parties, however, once again asked the NDA government to make amends in its policy of engagement with Pakistan.
Well, nothing will happen. Well, the Pakistanis are not interested in peace. The government of India should realize that we've been trying it for the last 36 years. It's not worked, and it's not going to work. So rather than clutching at straws and rather than trying to validate every little statement which comes out of Pakistan, the Prime Minister and the government of India need to find a new template of dealing with Pakistan. And the first milestone in that new template is calling off the Foreign Secretary level talks.
इनकी कूटनीतिक फेलियर है, इनका वो तो उसका पर्दाफाश हो गया, डे 1 से हो रहा है। जिस तरह की लंबी चौड़ी बात करते थे और जिस तरह से हमारे सैनिक शहीद हो रहे हैं, हमारी सीमा का उल्लंघन हो रहा है, आतंकवादी घटनाएं ये जब आते हैं बढ़ती है।
We welcome the Prime Minister must go, must see the site himself, must review the situation, and must also reflect on what went wrong with the coordination at Pathankot. However, we also expect our Prime Minister to evolve a coherent strategy vis-a-vis Pakistan.
The ruling party, meanwhile, has defended the steps taken by the government after last week's terror attack.
Pathankot incident is a very serious terrorist attack. The Prime Minister today, Narendra Modi ji, is in Pathankot. And obviously, we are all concerned about it. And as the Ministry of External Affairs has said, we expect some prompt action.
6 terrorists believed to owe allegiance to Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed were gunned down by the security forces after a 4-day gun battle at the Air Force Base last week. 7 security personnel also lost their lives in the attack. Vishal Dahiya, Rajya Sabha TV, Delhi.
And on to news from Jammu and Kashmir. Well, Congress President Sonia Gandhi is expected to visit the state today. She will offer condolences to PTP President Mehbooba Mufti on the demise of her father, Mufti Muhammad Saeed. The Jammu and Kashmir Pradesh Congress Committee said that Sonia was slated to visit the Srinagar residence of the Muftis in the afternoon today. Remember, her visit comes at a time when the state is under governor's rule after passing away of Chief Minister Mufti Muhammad Saeed on 7th of this month. The constitutional vacuum in the state was the outcome of the reluctance of Mufti's daughter, Mehbooba Mufti, to take oath during the mourning period. Now, PDP's coalition ally BJP also indicated that it will take a decision on the new government after the 4-day mourning period ends on Monday. Well, my colleague Pranav Goswami is with us for more on this. Pranav, now J&K has been under governor's rule. What are your sources telling you? When is the government formation likely?
See, this is only a formality, and once the mourning period will be over, then Mufti Mehbooba will take oath as the first Chief Minister of Jammu Kashmir, and the government formation process will take place. As we know that the coalition partner BJP has clearly indicated that they don't have any problem accepting Mehbooba Mufti as Chief Minister. But we also know that initially it was not a very natural alliance, because we know that both two parties, BJP and PDP, they have different ideologies. But after elections, we saw that in Valley region, PDP is got very strong hold, and in Jammu region, BJP in this election did extremely well. So after that, they decided to form a government. So now top leadership of BJP is now ready, and they are willing to support Mehbooba Mufti. Or once the mourning period will be over, then Mehbooba Mufti will become Chief Minister. We know that Mehbooba Mufti is not ready. She says she is not in the position in this deep grip to take oath. So after this mourning period, the government formation process will take place.
All right. So Mehbooba Mufti all said to take in the reins after the mourning period is over. Thank you so much, Pranav, for all those details there. Meanwhile, Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister M. Venkaiah Naidu expressed hope that the GST bill will be passed in the budget session of Parliament. Now, addressing a meeting of Real Estate Developers Association in Delhi yesterday, Naidu expressed hope that Parliament will be able to pass it in the budget session. He said that in line with the wishes of the Congress, the government had already incorporated a provision to cap the peak GST rate. Now, speaking, however, at a different event in Mumbai, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley singled out the top Congress leadership for stalling the GST bill. Jaitley said that some people get sadistic pleasure in obstruction. He also claimed that most of the party's second-rung leaders were supportive of the key tax reform legislation.
कांग्रेस पार्टी जीएसटी के खिलाफ बिल्कुल नहीं है। हम चाहते हैं कि जीएसटी जल्द से जल्द आए। मैं पूरी जिम्मेदारी के साथ कह रहा हूं कि जीएसटी न आने का कारण एक ही है, एक ही कारण है, नरेंद्र मोदी जीएसटी नहीं चाहते।
ये सरासर झूठ है कि जो कांग्रेस का आरोप है कि बीजेपी मिसलीड कर रही है। वास्तविकता यह है जो अरुण जेटली जी ने कहा है। कुछ चंद नेता हैं कांग्रेस के अंदर जो चाहते नहीं कि जीएसटी पास हो, और इन चंद नेताओं को एक अजीब किस्म का, मैं कह सकता हूं, प्रशंसा होती है जब जीएसटी रुकता है या देश के विकास को रोका जाता है।
Well, my colleague Vishal Daya is with us on the phone line. Vishal, now BJP says it is hopeful of clearing the GST bill in the upcoming budget session. Now, Congress is digging its heel on the changes really it wants in the bill. Now, will this continue in the budget session as well?
Well, as of now, it seems likely, Aishwarya, because the status quo has been maintained both sides, be it the ruling party BJP or the main opposition cause. If you look at the previous session, then the Congress had demanded three major changes in the proposed GST bill, and there was an attempt by the government to try and bring around the Congress and bring them on board when the Prime Minister met the Congress President and former Prime Minister over a cup of tea at his residence in November. But at that point also, the Congress had steadfastly maintained that three of its demands will have to be met by the government. The demands for those amendments, which includes a cap on the total amount of tax to be levied to 18%, and including that into the constitutional amendment as well. The government seems to have come around to half of the demand, as in maintaining a cap on the GST that is proposed tax. But including that into the constitution through an amendment is something which the government doesn't seem to be favoring at this point in time, and so clearly both sides still remain on their respective stance. It seems the Congress, given the statements which are coming in from their sides and from their senior leaders, is still not willing to go ahead and fully support the GST bill in its current form until unless all of their demands are met. And the government seems to be clearly indicating that they've done what they could do.
The Congress, meanwhile, has distanced itself from Tiwari's claims.
Time I used to serve on the Standing Committee of Defence, and it's unfortunate, but the story was true. The story was correct.
तिवारी जी के पास आजकल कुछ काम नहीं है, उनको बोले मेरी एक किताब है, उसको पढ़ लेंगे, अपने आप सब खुलासा हो जाएगा.
When this alleged incident regarding the army is supposed to have taken place, contemporaneously, senior ministers had even then clarified, and I am again clarifying, that there is absolutely no truth in the allegation or the insinuation or the innuendo in respect to which we have heard again today.
And now an update on the odd-even scheme that is in place in the national capital. Well, Delhi Transport Minister Gopal Rai yesterday said that the government will not extend the scheme.
40 से अगर आप पैमाना नापोगे तो ये जो 350-400 ज्यादा दिख रहा है, लेकिन 600 से अगर आप देखोगे तो अगर यहाँ पर आके खड़ा है, आज 8 इवन नहीं होता तो दिल्ली के अंदर 2.5-600 पर होता.
And let's go across to my colleague Ravindra Shuran for more on this. Ravindra, now government, it seems, is unsure of really continuing or not continuing with this odd-even scheme, even as the Delhi High Court will decide on its fate on 11th of this month.
Ashwarya, the statement given by the minister yesterday is completely opposite and contradictory to the statement given by the Council of the Delhi government, Mr. Harish Salve, on the last day of hearing, when Friday the order was reserved on this issue. Harish Salve said that the government of Delhi is interested to extend the scheme to analyze the results and the outcome of the scheme. Because this is the time when maximum pollution take place during the whole year, and the winter and the smog is the more responsible for this. And then said that we can extend the scheme. Is trying to say that this is a better scheme and it has successfully able to bring the pollution levels down in the city, and also the commuters, for the commuters also this is a good scheme. They have launched a lot of new DMRC, more ferries, and new buses have also been applied on the roads. So this is a good scheme, and in the
Yes, indeed. Delhi government, they're saying that the scheme is indeed a success, but the Delhi High Court will give its ruling on 11th of Jan on whether the scheme will be continued or not. Thank you so much, Ravindra, for all those details. Meanwhile, Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj appealed to millions of people of Indian origin across the world to turn to their homeland. She asked them to invest in the government's flagship schemes to boost investment and generate jobs. In her address to the first limited edition of Pravasi Bharatiya Divas yesterday, Sushma asked the diaspora to take part in programs like Skill India, Digital India and Clean Ganga initiatives. The PBD webcast by almost all Indian missions and posts was organized for the first time by Ministry of External Affairs after the government's decision to merge the Ministry of Overseas Indian Affairs with it.
आज भारत में कमाने के नए नए अवसर पैदा हो रहे हैं. आज देश लौटने का समय है. जब पहली पीढ़ी यहाँ से बाहर गई थी तो ये सोच कर गई थी कि जवानी के दिन वहाँ लगाएंगे, कमाएंगे, लेकिन बाद में बुढ़ापा तो अपनों के बीच ही आकर बिताएंगे। अब वो सपना सच होने का समय आ रहा है।
Well, news from Haryana now. Well, voting for the first phase of Panchayat elections are underway in the state for the election of Sarpanchs, Panchs, Panchayat Samitis and Zilla Parishads. Now, elections are being held in 47 blocks in which 8,981 polling stations have been set up and more than 46 lakh would cast their vote. 3,339 candidates are contesting elections for 416 wards of Zilla Parishads, 4,883 candidates for 1,221 wards of Panchayat Samitis, 11,296 for 2,583 posts of Sarpanchs and 24,143 for 26,248 posts of Panchs in the first phase. Well, the result for the posts of Sarpanchs and Panchs will be declared today itself, while the results for Panchayat Samitis and Zilla Parishads will be announced on 28th of January. Now, elections for the second and third phase will be held on 17th and 24th of January, respectively. Well, in other news, a week after it was constituted to look into the revamp of the censor board, the Shyam Benegal-led committee met the Information and Broadcasting Minister Arun Jaitley on Saturday. The panel discussed the functioning and possible changes in guidelines and policies of the censor board that has been mired in controversies. Renowned filmmaker Benegal has suggested various amendments to the guidelines and is working on the scope of the board for clearing movies. The panel will be submitting its detailed report to the government in the next 2 months. Well, apart from Jaitley, Union Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting Rajya Singh Rathore was also present at the meet. The panel includes a filmmaker Rakesh Omprakash Mehra, Piyush Pandey and film critic Bhavna Sumaya. National Film Development Council MD Neena Lath Gupta and Joint Secretary Films Sanjay Murthy are also part of this panel. Now to some international news now. Well, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un today defended its latest hydrogen bomb blast test, calling it a self-defensive step against a US threat. Now, Kim also said that they have right to do that without being criticized. North Korea's latest nuclear test on Wednesday angered both the United States and China. And in fact, US governments and weapons experts doubt the North Korea's claim that the device it set off was indeed a hydrogen bomb. Meanwhile, North Korea's leader has taken a victory tour of military headquarters to celebrate the country's widely disputed claim of a hydrogen bomb test. Footage of North Korea's state news agency showed thousands of people gathering at Kim Il-sung Square in Pyongyang for the mass rally and were also seen dancing and watching fireworks at the square.
우리가 단행한 소소탄 시험은 미제와 제국주의자들의 핵전쟁 위험으로부터 나라의 자주권과 민족의 생존권을 철저히 수호하며 조선반도의 평화와 지역의 안전을 믿음직하게 담보하기 위한 자비적 조치라고 하시면서
전협정을 평화협정으로 바꾸고 조선반도의 평화적 환경을 마련하기 위한 우리의 원칙적인 입장을 외면하고 미제는 오늘도 정치적인 압력과 경제적인 제재 그리고 악랄한 인권 소동에 매달리고 있습니다. 바로 이러한 때에 진행된 우리의 수소탄 시험은 주권 국가의 합법적인 권리이며 바로 우리 정정당당한 자의적 조치입니다.
Well, let's get you some more international news and updates in World Wrap. The second deputy of IS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was killed during an Iraqi Air Force strike in the city of Barwana. Asi Ali Mohammad Nasir al-Obaidi was a top IS military commander in western Iraq and eastern Syria. His death comes just days after IS chief spokesman in Iraq, Abu Muhammad al-Adnani, was said to be severely wounded in another airstrike. Mexico will begin the process of extraditing recaptured drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman to the US, where he faces drug trafficking charges connected to his cartel. On Friday, Guzman was detained and sent back to the maximum security prison that he escaped from 6 months ago. Guzman, who was one of the world's most wanted drug traffickers, escaped from there in July through a tunnel. Now, that was his second escape from the jail. Riot police used water cannons to disperse anti-migrant protesters in the German city of Cologne. Now, 2 people were injured in the clashes, and riot police made a number of arrests during the march. Tensions run high more than a week after hundreds of women were sexually assaulted and robbed on the New Year's Eve. Reports suggest that recently arrived refugees were among the suspected assailants in these attacks. Well, time to wrap up with this edition of news. But before we go, a quick programming note. Well, Rajya Sabha TV will be seen in a brand new appearance starting from today evening. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari will formally launch the new look of Rajya Sabha television at a special function at Delhi's Vigyan Bhavan at 4 p.m. today. Rajya Sabha TV will telecast the event live. On the occasion, the Vice President will also release 2 books titled Moments of Eureka and also Scientifically Yours. These books are based on the various interviews of scientists featured on Rajya Sabha TV's popular science-based show Eureka. This will be followed by a panel discussion on scientific temper, a prerequisite for knowledge-based society. So don't forget to tune in at 4 p.m. for all of that. Alright, we hope that you do like the new look of your channel. Thank you so much for being with Rajya Sabha TV. Thanks for watching.